Hello folks, and a very warm welcome to the Supplier Spotlight podcast. My name's Liam Ball, I'm your magical wedding host, also known as the Gentleman Magician. Now, I say this every single time, the Supplier Spotlight podcast exists to shine a light on some of the very best people that I've come across in the wedding industry. Wedding suppliers who are going to add personality and creativity and unforgettable moments to your wedding day. As always, if you're enjoying the podcast or you know somebody who you think will because they're planning a wedding or they're in the events industry, please do give this a like, a share, a subscribe and a follow, and forward this on to anybody who you know is planning a wedding. It really will help to give them the best information that they need for planning their wedding day. Now, today's guest is a live illustrator, somebody whose job it is to capture your wedding guests in moments of real time, creating personal keepsakes that people will take away with them on the day. It's a blend of wonderful artistic entertainment, pure artistry, and a fantastic guest experience that adds something truly unique to every wedding day. She has a very distinct style and real focus on interaction and personality. So it's an absolute pleasure to bring on to the Supplier Spotlight podcast from Drawn by Chloe Hill, the very one and only Chloe Hill. Hello, Chloe.
Hello. Thank you for that intro, Liam.
You are very, very welcome. You know, one of the really fun things about doing this is obviously once I've met people and kind of I chat to people and we say, yeah, we're going to do this, is I get to kind of do some really sort of deep dives into what sort of stuff, you know, people do and really look at their work and find out more about them. So sometimes it's a real pleasure. Like, oh, I didn't realize that or I didn't know that. And of course, you know, getting somebody's personality is a wonderful thing.
Yeah, I need to hire you for my marketing now.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, indeed. So I'll tell you what, let's as I always do, let's start right at the beginning. How did live illustration become your thing?
Well, I think it goes right back. I've just always drawn since I could pick up a pencil. I look back at when I was I've got sketchbooks from when I was about 3 years old. Which are filled with little people. They don't have necks yet, but there's lots of people. That seems to be my main focus at that age, which is drawing people and drawing and drawing and drawing. So I was basically already doing the job back then. Although I don't think the guest reaction might have been the same. And yeah, so did it throughout school, and then at university I studied a degree in animation. So I specialise in 2D hand-drawn animation.
Oh gosh, okay.
Yeah, so that is a lot of drawing. Good preparation for the job. So for context, it's to animate a second of animation by hand. It's you usually draw 12 frames a second.
Oh wow. Okay.
So yeah, so that's 720 drawings for a minute of animation.
Gosh.
So yeah, that got my practice in.
Yeah.
Definitely made me faster at drawing.
Wow.
So yeah, then after. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's such a. I mean, like, you know, that's such a crazy skill to have. I mean, I can barely draw. Like I can just about draw. I can barely draw. I quite enjoy it. I think probably
That's the main thing.
It's a little fun thing for me to do from time to time. But if I was going to, I can't even comprehend how one might draw an animation of, for instance, a flower sprouting, coming into bloom, and the petals falling off. You know, which I imagine might just be a couple of seconds of animation. But to be able to put that kind of detail in and then do it with people as well, that's mind blowing.
Yeah, I really enjoyed lip syncing actually, but like that's like an extra level of detail. So you're animating the people, and honestly, we had these sheets where you'd have it all broken down of all the mouth shapes, of like every letter, and you'd be going through what they were saying, breaking it down so slowly, like so like that, and try and animate all of that.
Absolutely. So how did you go from from that to realizing, actually, this is a fantastic thing that I can do at a wedding day?
There was a big gap between that
Mhm.
and actually finding weddings. So in the meantime, um, I mean, I'm trying to put these years into. I did a lot in that time of like other things, but on the side I had a business like selling posters, and I made designs for like travel posters.
Okay.
Started selling those, got into like a local shop to sell those. So that sort of shone a light on that I was enjoying the um business side of it, and that wasn't making enough to go full time or anything, but
Mhm.
it was, I really enjoyed it and then
Yeah.
learnt a lot from it. And then I ended up I worked in-house as a graphic designer and illustrator for a children's craft company.
Yeah.
So that involved like one of my task was illustrating and designing a monthly magazine
Okay.
for children, and then like lots of different marketing tasks. Yeah, designing fun crafts. Um, did that for over 4 years until sadly the company went under. But so then I ended up made redundant and applying for loads of graphic design jobs. This was
Right.
2024. Job
Oh,
market was not good.
goodness
Definitely
gracious.
starting to, I think, feel effects of AI on the industry.
Yeah.
And then I started getting some freelance work. And landed like my biggest illustration client. It was literally a dream project, but it was at the time when so many people in the industry who were established were saying it was the worst time for illustration. Like it was the worst year they'd had in their careers.
Yeah.
Um, and so I was like, oh, this is a terrible time to be starting out. I think I need something else or a different angle. And I think particularly I had AI at the back of my mind, like, is this
Yeah.
worth pursuing if it's
Mhm.
going to come along and just destroy everything?
Yeah.
And so as a hobby, not doing this one at weddings, but I play guitar in a band.
Okay.
And I was thinking, why isn't there, there should be an equivalent for art, because they're protected in the sense that people always want to see humans performing live music.
That's right. Yeah.
And then it was about a month after I remember thinking this, I started seeing it on social media,
Mhm.
and I saw some live illustrators at weddings,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh, I could do that. That's cool, and it would get me out, it would get me to weddings. It looked really exciting, so I just started practicing. I remember the first sketch I did. I set a timer and tried to do a person like as quick as I could, and then was experimenting it with like how the mediums and stuff. I drew somebody in like 6 minutes, and I showed it to my partner, and he was like, "Well, she looks like she has a beard. I wouldn't want that. I'd give you that back."
Okay.
So it got better from there, but it is quick, and it takes a practice to find your
Yeah.
medium thing.
I mean, of
Um,
course. I mean, you mentioned the AI thing, so obviously being a magician, I know lots and lots of other magicians, and I saw a magician posting in a Facebook group. I think it was a week or so ago. Hey, magicians, for £10, I will design for you a custom poster for your magic show. And then he put this example up, and it was
yeah,
very, very clearly AI generated.
yeah.
To which somebody immediately commented, anybody with ChatGPT could produce that. Like, how do you even? And it's also so clearly like, the magician in that photograph has got four fingers, and the cards that he's holding up on anything, like
Yeah.
where's his thumb, and what are those weird, and he's like, well, I mean, like, yeah, so it's AI generated, but so what? I'll still do it for £10, and it's like, this is, and I think
Oh
this is one
no.
of the things. So many people we're in that age, and I think you're right. AI is a thing to be concerned of, but I think it's one of those things where what people really need to be concerned of is that we think it's going to solve all of our problems, and it's not, because it cannot, and most likely will never be human. It won't be
Yeah.
able to give that kind of human detail and human experience, and of course human skill, and knowing from an artist perspective where to put the right stroke or the right kind of stroke or exactly which shade of exactly which color to use on this paper, because although I might be using a lighter or darker shade than what it is for real, when it goes on it's going to work properly, like only a person can know something like that.
Yeah, it's, I think, the intention behind it.
Mm,
Like, as a designer or illustrator, or whatever your animator,
yeah.
photographer, a creative, everything you put in there, like every line I'm picking,
Mm,
is there for a reason. I'm like
yeah,
actively choosing to put that there.
that's right.
And it comes with like the experience of, well, I did that before and that looked awful, so I know this time to do this. Which you don't get with an AI work because it's
Yeah.
randomly generated. But
It doesn't
yeah,
have that same feeling. So I mean, we can listen. I could talk about AI all day long. I get that. So let's kind of let's kind of bring it back to weddings. So for the person out there, for the bride or the groom or the person going to get married here, who is listening to this and thinking, what's a live illustrator? What's that? What exactly are people getting? What happens when somebody books you for a wedding?
so it's a whole experience. It's entertainment on the day, but also provides a favour and keepsake for your guests and for you, as the couple. All my packages include an illustration for them as well, which I do it afterwards because I want to put more effort into that one and not give them a quick one on the day, so that you treasure it. Um, yeah, all about. I'm happy if as many of my illustrations end up in frames as
Mm,
possible. So yeah, it's just, it ends up creating a really unique, exciting
mm,
experience for guests on the day. So you get a mix. Some people don't know, have never heard of it, and are really intrigued by it. And some people, I think quite a few people, a lot of people, younger people, have seen it on social media.
yeah,
I've had people at weddings. There was one the other day where someone was like, "Oh, I've seen this on TikTok. I never thought I'd see it at a real
yeah,
wedding." So
that's
there's
right.
that excitement of it. But then they come and, well, we go around and get photos. I either work alone or with an assistant, depending on the package. And um, so I try to make that as much an experience as possible. So trying to get them to, like, basically interact naturally. So I'm capturing their personality.
Yeah.
But quite often they'll have a bit of fun with it. I'm all for that. If they want to, you know, throw a different pose at me. I've had people like picking up partners and stuff before. Um, and then I'll go away and sit there illustrating as many of the guests as I can.
Mm,
And they can come over and interact, come and watch me, come chat to me. And then I start filling up the little pop-up gallery. And then they come over, and that's when you get, if you've seen it on social media, uh, the
right,
reactions, like
reactions. Yeah.
people coming over and seeing everyone and spotting people in the gallery.
Hmm. I mean, because I mean, obviously, I've seen this, a whole bunch of times.
Yeah.
In fact, I had a live illustrator at my own wedding. Um,
Oh
and
yeah, I see you just got married.
yes, that's right. Yes,
Congratulations.
thank you very much. But yeah, no, we had a live illustrator on the day, and that moment when the guests come in and somebody says, "Hey, I'm just going to take a quick photo, and then in a minute, I'm going to draw you." People are
Yeah.
like, "What? What you mean?" And then you kind of sketch out this thing and you fill it all in and you put the color in, and there it is. And people are just like, Oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah.
How did you do that so quickly? And of course, by the time they've had that reaction, you're kind of well onto your next one. But it really is just such a wonderful, wonderful thing that people get to take away. I mean, what's the typical guest experience when they're there and you're telling them what you're going to do, and then of course you produce this beautifully curated piece of individual and unique artwork that you create in front of them. What's the usual guest reaction?
Um, the most common I'd say is uh, a sort of confusion
Hmm.
of how have you done this?
Yeah.
Or some people, I think they are like, oh, I thought you were doing something on your iPad. You're drawing. And I'm like,
Mm.
yeah, I didn't try to explain it earlier, but they didn't connect what I was actually
Yeah.
doing. And I didn't realize you were drawing and painting us.
Mm.
And yeah, I'd say the most common comment is people going, "Oh my God, you're so talented, you're so clever," and I think I get paid even like I get paid more if I got paid for a pound for every time someone said, "I couldn't even draw a stick man."
Yeah.
Like, how do you do this? So yeah, it's often that sort of disbelief or
Mm.
trying to work it out.
I mean,
Um,
the way that I think I've described it in the past, when certainly, and I've had that sort of that very first experience of seeing a live illustrator and watching them what they do, and for me, it was like a non-magician watching magic, and it's like, oh my goodness! But of course, you're watching this person create right in front of you, and you can see every stroke and every pixel of color going in, and it's just like, wow, that's absolutely out. And then of course they go ta-da, and you get that kind of ta-da moment, and people are like, oh wow, that's amazing. And it really is. It's such, and I know you hit it earlier on. It's such a fantastic part of the entertainment of the day that people kind of walk away with, and every single person gets a unique experience, right?
yeah. Um, I mean, lots of couples book it because it's a lovely keepsake and they want to
Mhm.
do it as a favour that will
Yeah.
actually be kept and is meaningful.
Mhm.
But I think um, it's just becomes like more, it carries the memory
Yeah.
that they met you on the day. Even if
Mhm.
they know somebody who gets the illustration after the day and they didn't get it on the day, they still had the experience
Yeah.
that they linked to that.
Mhm.
Um, and like, that you don't have in the same way if you have a photo. So they can remember like looking in the gallery and finding everybody
Yeah.
and the excitement of that
Mhm.
alongside.
Now, I mean, of course, the other thing as well, I think that is almost lost in translation without being pointed out here, is that every artist in the world has got their own style, and that's probably the same for live illustrators. I mean, I've seen somewhere every person's had a miniature caricature, or every single person has been drawn, in minute detail, almost like it's some kind of Victorian painting. And again, I've seen digital versions of it, and physical versions, and somewhere it's kind of halfway in between. What would you say is your style? What's your sort of illustrative and artistic personality and style?
Um, so in terms of like my focus,
Mhm.
it's that I focus a lot on the characters, on personalities and trying to get that across. So a lot of my focus is the face. So yeah, all of mine have faces, and I think you get a mix. Some people focus more on the fashion side of it, and I love uh, creating the outfits and everything. But
Mhm.
the thing where that I think differentiates mine is capturing um, a mood. So I'm always thinking about how they'll receive it and what like trying to capture their personality, but often like trying to enhance what was in the photos. So
Yeah.
quite a lot of people actually don't really smile, and if I do that in the illustration, they just look really grumpy. So
Yeah.
I'll give them a bit of a smile, um, and yeah, might like I'll often like enhance their pose, like from the photo, and just try and make it I don't know, make them look sort of more confident, or like just draw out their personality more.
Yeah.
But yeah, I focus on like keeping it sort of, I guess, the opposite of a caricature, where you're making it really, you're sort of insulting them with pulling out making their features large and everything. I'm trying to like keep it flattering so that they feel good, like, because often if you look at a photo, and I think I find this particularly with the older guests, you have it in your mind, this idea of how you wanted to come to the wedding, and then you look at a photo, and particularly I think with candid ones, you know, can be lovely photos, but you're there critiquing yourself. No one else would see it, but you're like, oh, look at, like, my frown lines, or like the lines around my mouth or something like that, or do I have a double chin? Lots of people are very sensitive about the double chin. It's my most common request is, can you draw me without the double chin?
Yes.
And
that's why I grew a beard.
That is really handy. Women don't get the same same way out. But yeah, so it's about trying to make them have that version of themselves where they look at it and go, like, oh, I look great, like, I love this, like.
But also, of course, you're in that. I guess it must be a fine line, right? That comes from years of knowledge and know-how and experience, being able to apply all of those. Let's use the phrase filters, because I think more people would understand that you're essentially running that photograph through a series of filters in your brain till it comes out at your fingertips. But you are, regardless of all of those things, you're capturing the image and the personality and the presence of that person on the day at that wedding, right?
Yeah.
And that's such...
it is a very fine balance. And I mean, you do your best, but sometimes you are trying to mind read, because you've got to make it recognizable. But sometimes, running it through that sort of filter in my brain, you might actually remove something that made it quite distinguished, like distinguish them. And so, it's a hard thing sometimes. Some people actually tell you exactly what they want. Like,
I was just about to say, what's been like the strangest request that you've ever had?
Oh, that's a good one. I have had some weird ones. I'm trying to think now. I've had, so the most common one is the double chin. Don't give me a double chin or a triple chin. Or slim me down. I don't want my bingo wings. I had like, make my hair boofy. Someone specifically using the word boofy.
Wow.
I'm trying to think now. I've definitely had some, like,
I'm wondering if you ever had it where somebody's like, hey, if I just stand and do this, can you make it like I've got a Superman outfit on underneath or something,
I have had, actually no, I have had a couple. They were good fun. They were like, can you draw me? He was like, I want to be, I want a 6-pack.
Oh, okay.
And he was like, I can't remember what else he requested. He was like, make me like taller, 6-pack. Can I be in like some swimming trunks as well, stuff like that?
Well, okay, so I was like, how do you draw a 6-pack under a shirt?
Well,
I get it now.
So I did think of just drawing him with some beers, but I was like, is that hard thing? Like, I was like, I think they would love it, but I was also like, it's like something you want to keep and is nice. So
I guess it's moments like that where you almost think, have I got time to do 2?
Yeah. It's so tempting, but I just went for I drew them like normally, and then I put shadow. He was wearing a white shirt and a bow tie, so I just did shadow to do a 6-pack.
Nice.
And when he came by, I was like, here's your 6-pack, and he was like, oh, you did it.
It's amazing.
So I mean, it's fun when they give you like interesting requests.
Yeah. Do you find that people come back more than once at a wedding, or do they?
So most of the time,
Yeah,
when we arrange the packages, it's usually one per person.
yeah,
But yeah, you'll get some people will come back for for a few, and quite often people want them. So if they have one with their partner, and then someone else is single, and they want one with their friend,
yeah.
um, then they'll try and get both. So
I get you. So, I mean, and I mean, live illustrations such as the sort that you do is, I guess, one of the many things that you could arrange at a wedding day. And you can, and obviously, most people have photos and videos, and that goes by the by. And sort of formal photos look wonderful, but of course they fulfill the purpose they're there for. Having formal sort of photos of the wedding day. Whereas I guess, if we consider other things like, for instance, a photo booth, which can be great fun. People come along and put stupid costumes on and have photos taken, which of course can be a whole lot of fun. But again, it fulfills the role it's there for, right? What would you say really makes live illustration stand out in a way that nothing else can?
um, I think it's that sort of that you get something physical. And I think particularly with how things are, we're living in such a digital world. I think it's really nice that people get a physical keepsake. And I know you can get photos from a photo booth, but it's something that has had a chunk of time
Yeah, it's been
put
created.
into it. Yeah, so it's very unusual. It's not something they can quickly get.
Mm.
Most people I draw are like, I've never been drawn before. So they're really intrigued to see themselves through someone else's eyes.
Yeah.
So that's like makes it a unique takeaway at the end of it, in a way that a photo, however nice, is one of many.
Well, I mean, I guess another thing as well, and I'm just kind of thinking about this now. One of the great benefits of the photo booth is you've got 55,000 different silly hats and props and wigs that you can throw on, and 100 and something people. You can have one with everybody, and have loads of fun. And I mean, you could take that picture as many times as you want to, and still think, oh yeah, I still don't like this or I don't like that. Whereas when you've got, as you say, an artist, a professional artist, somebody who has drawn for years, knows what they're doing, says, hey, I'm going to make you look your best you right now in this moment, and I'm going to draw it by hand. I mean, that's something, right?
Yeah, for sure. Because it's got that distance. I'm not capturing all the detail.
Mm.
I'm trying to, my faces and everything are very simple. Like I'm only using a few lines.
Yeah.
So you are removing that sort of element of needing it to be completely perfect because it's a representation of them.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then I'm picking it out so you don't have to worry about that one person didn't look great in the picture and the other one did, or something like that, because I'm making them both look good together. Yeah.
Get you. Yeah. That's phenomenal. So let's kind of think about the business process quickly. There's somebody out there now thinks, gosh, this sounds amazing. Chloe sounds fabulous. I'm going to get in contact and I'm going to talk about my wedding. What should people expect from that kind of journey, from when they first contact you to what happens on the wedding day and beyond?
So as soon as possible, I try and actually talk face to face to people. And I think it just, I'm going to be there on your wedding, and I think the first thing is that we see if we actually, you know, that they like my vibe, that we get on together. Um, and then it just becomes so much easier. Like rather than going backwards and forwards, you've got, with all your wedding admin, just to explain exactly what I do and see exactly what they want from live illustration, because it's never the same. I don't think I've had, I don't know. I rarely ever get anyone who gives me the same reason why they want a live illustrator at their wedding. And at that point, some really interesting stories come out. Like I've got somebody a couple at the moment, and she said that they want a live illustrator because she and her fiance bonded over the fact that they both do like a creative hobby or crafts and stuff, and that's why it's really important to them. And then that's like so nice to know, and then I can tailor my services to like suggest things that might appeal to them. So yeah, so I try and do it all on a call, and then see if they want to go ahead. And yeah, I like to try and get to know them as much as I can, and have that interaction. So I don't feel like I'm a stranger on their wedding day.
Yeah.
So yeah, I always organise everything on a call. Like I'll arrange 6 weeks before the wedding, and then we go through all the setup, how it's going to work on the day. I mean, quite a few things often come out at that point, like little things that you probably wouldn't have mentioned in email, but are actually quite integral to it running well.
Yeah. Fantastic. So, I mean, it's very much the case, and of course, that you'll turn up and you'll do what you do, and undoubtedly, I think that something like having a live artist at a wedding, that's always going to go down a storm, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm obviously going to say that, but
yeah, I've never ever seen a live artist at a wedding and it not just be joyous for all of the guests who get to go and experience that.
Yeah, you're obviously going to have some guests who get really excited about it, and others who are not as fussed. But I always find that there are other people. There's a mix. There's some people who are really excited about it. They're like, "Oh, I knew you were going to be here. I was really excited for the live illustrator."
Yeah.
And then some people who've seen it on social media, so excited for it then. And then some people who had no idea you even existed before, and then start flocking over and think it's like the best thing ever. So yeah, it always creates a buzz.
Yeah, I think so. Fantastic. Right. Last question before we ask you something really important. What would you say is one of the biggest misconceptions people have when they're thinking about live artists at weddings?
So the most common one I get it most weddings.
Yeah.
I will be called the caricaturist. I think when I go round and ask for photos, people are worried that I am a caricaturist, and they're like, "Don't draw my nose too big."
Yeah.
I have had a bride have to she apologized when she sent me around the plan of the day. She was like, "They put you down as the caricaturist. I know you're not."
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, I get it a lot, and then I'm like, no offense to a caricaturist, that's a really cool thing too, but
it is,
it's not what I'm doing.
Get you.
So yeah, that's having to explain to people that I'm actually like the opposite. I'm doing it in a sort of an illustrative style.
Yeah, it's like an illustrative version of fine art. Yeah,
it's a sort of. Sometimes people describe it as a cartoon, which I'm not. It's on the line. I think it's sort of more like I'm quite inspired by like Tintin and that sort of style of cartoon. So it is in that sort of sense. But it's not really how I describe it, because I think otherwise you think like big bulging eyes and.
That's right. Yeah, I think when people think
like The Simpsons.
That's right. Yeah, they're thinking of The Simpsons and SpongeBob, which of course isn't the case. I guess it's just like it's not even a cartoon you, is it? It's just an illustration of you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fabulous. But no, I think that's right about the caricatures. Listen, Chloe, it's been fantastic. This has been a really eye-opening discussion. So last question before we say goodbye. Where can people find you?
So main place is my website or Instagram. So it's at drawn by Chloe Hill with dots between the words.
Yeah.
And Yeah, I do have a TikTok too. I mean, if anything, go support it. It needs some love.
Yeah.
It's not it's not where I've been focusing my attention. Instagram's the main one, but
Yeah, that's great. And what's your website address?
it is
Yep.
www.drawnbychloehale.co.uk.
.co.uk. Fantastic. Well, listen, Chloe, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. It really has been a great discussion. And yeah, let's catch up again soon.
Yeah, thank you for
Bye.
having me on.
You're very welcome. Take care. And there you go, folks. What an absolutely fascinating conversation. Listen, if you are planning a wedding and you want something interactive, creative, and genuinely memorable, I can wholeheartedly recommend a live event artist, and I can wholeheartedly recommend Chloe. Having seen some of her work, I can tell you now she's absolutely fantastic. As Chloe said, you can find her on Instagram and on TikTok, but also on her website, drawnbychloehale.co.uk, which is well worth a look. Go and have a look at the images and the style that she creates. And again, thank you for listening. If you have enjoyed it, please like, subscribe, share, and follow, and pass this on to somebody who's planning a wedding. It really will help them to make some great choices for their wedding day. Until next time, folks, do remember to choose your suppliers wisely, and I'll see you on the next episode of the Supplier Spotlight podcast.